The House is preparing to pass President Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill by the end of the week without the help of Republicans. Joining us now with more on this and the state of the GOP, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Leader McCarthy, it's good to see a big piece in the, yeah, you probably, I don't know if you read it yet, in the Wall Street Journal op-ed pages from Senator Romney, Mitt Romney. I mean, when you lose Romney, with the Democrat. When you lose Romney, I mean, so there must be something wrong with this bill. Biden's stimulus bill is a $1.9 trillion clunker. He makes a lot of points here, one of which is that $700 billion wouldn't even be spent until after the end of this year. Wouldn't be spent until 2022 or after. So how is that immediately fighting COVID? It was his point.
Well, it's not fighting COVID because only 9% of this bill goes towards COVID, towards testing, vaccines, or others. $1.7 trillion is for everything else. I mean, think for a moment. This is what the problem lies. We've done 5 COVID bills bipartisan. This is the first one that the Democrats just want to do by themselves. And to get the votes, what are they doing? They're putting in a special project for Nancy Pelosi, $100 million for Silicon Valley Fail Rail project, or a bridge for Schumer. We're watching that the money that's going for schools aren't even being spent. 95% of it won't be spent this year. So will schools even open? You've got more than $60 billion sitting there for schools that were already appropriated. You've got $1 trillion still sitting there that we appropriated that have not gone out. A lot within this bill is a waste or a wish list from the progressives, and I think that's why they're going to have difficulty even making sure all the Democrats vote for it. It's very similar to when Barack Obama came in and they passed that stimulus bill by themselves. And remember what happened at the end of the day a year later. More people thought Elvis was alive than the stimulus created a job. But unfortunately, this is going to do real damage to America, putting this much money out there in a time that it's not smart or surgical to do it.
In the piece, and we'll talk just a little bit more about this, then I want to get to some of the other stuff. But Senate Republicans are eager to get aid where it's needed. We want to reopen schools and try to give people a bridge to more reopening, which who knows when that's actually coming, because, we seem to, there's a whole faction that seems like they want to stay closed a lot longer than the other group of people want to. But what do you want? What is essential right now?
I think the 3 things we need to do: back to work, back to school, back to health. So I would spend more money on COVID. I wouldn't reward states. What they're doing is they're reversing the order of how they provide resources to the states. Those that actually shut down get more money. California just came out with a $10 billion surplus, and they're going to get the biggest chunk of the money. But states with low unemployment that stayed open are actually going to be in a negative ability of receiving resources. So I would focus, and I would give incentives to open up schools. I would give incentives for COVID vaccines and others. I would give incentives that this country starts working again. And I would be more surgical, because when they just put out these checks, there's going to be people that have high income but aren't working at that time that are receiving them, and those who really need it are not. And then go back on to small businesses that's been hurt the worst through all of this. To raise a minimum wage that isn't based upon locality is only going to do more damage and more job losses. Look, we don't need another study. We know what happened in Washington. When Seattle, which is wealthy, they lost jobs when they raised it. We watched in Long Beach, two grocery stores, they closed once they said give them $4 more for working during the pandemic. This is real economic problems that they're going to hurt the lowest income, and this isn't going to those who need it most.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.